Good afternoon, Jason here from Bohemia Apiary. How's everyone's New Year? Happy New Year. It is January 3rd. We're here in the apiary. It's a nice brisk afternoon here on the eastern shore of Maryland. Everyone's still trying to enjoy their holiday. Some of you are back to work. We are still trying to weather the storm here in Maryland. Hoping that we have spring here in another 70, maybe 75 more days, 76 more days. Hopefully spring arrives on time this year. But here in the apiary, we are just trying to make sure that our bees have what they need. We did a quick inspection yesterday, and while everyone is celebrating the winter, we naturally are not celebrating a few losses. Many people have bees and celebrate the fact that their bees are strong. Here at the Bohemia Apiary, we pride ourselves in trying to maintain our bees through the winter and coming out with a strong stock. And we also humble ourselves when we realize we do something dumb and we lose a colony or two. So we're going to have to pay some homage to our bees a little bit and understand what went wrong with our bees. We're going to talk about, have a little fireside chat about maybe what went wrong and maybe try to toast to our lost queens, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Lopsy. Those poor queens, they didn't have a chance here. But let's talk about what went wrong. We at the Bohemia Apiary, we structure our hives, as you can see, with a little bit of a technique that we use by wrapping our hives with 2-inch foam, and then put a quilt box on top. We use bottom boards. We use the screen bottom boards that you see here. These are the Bee Smart bottom boards. We like them a lot. They work very well for us. Very versatile. You can get these on our website. You can place an order for them. Let us know if you're interested. I'll get into why these are important in a minute. We also use the various techniques to combat small hive beetle, whether it's the guardian bee blockers or whether it's the bee shim to help prevent those. We put the sugar shim in the middle, as you can see on a few of these hives, to help give them a little bit of an edge. Throw some pollen patties, winter pollen patties in there, and that's how we typically winter our hives. You can see the structure here in this diagram is what we typically do. It worked well for us last year and in prior years. This year, something went sideways, and we weren't quite sure what went sideways. Came out to the apiary yesterday, started to do a couple quick inspections, put a couple more pollen patties on. And as I went down the various colonies, saw we had some losses. We had one colony that had a loss, complete loss. Did a little bit of inspection on the hive and found the queen, found the bees all dead in the bottom. Didn't look like there was a lot of mites, so that didn't seem to be the problem. But notice that the pollen patties that I put into the actual box had a little bit more moisture in them than normal. Further inspection, there was plenty of honey, plenty of nectar stores, honey stores for them to feed on, so it wasn't a food thing. And the sugar shim actually was being eaten, and they were towards the top of the box, just underneath. It seemed that they were sitting more towards the top of the box, just underneath the actual quilt box. So I continued down the line, figuring on, mostly I'd lost one hive, ended up going to another and another, losing another hive, and then another. Got through about all 14 colonies, ended up losing 3 of the 14 colonies. With no real clear indication as to what the problem was. Took those colonies apart, cleaned them all up, got everything else secured. Luckily, the rest of the colonies you see behind me are still solid, still good growing colonies. Still have good solid numbers on them. Hopefully they'll be fine. But still no clear indication of what the problem was until one key thing popped out. I noticed on one of the nucleus colonies, when I pulled the bottom board shim out, or the plastic board that comes underneath the screen bottom board, that was something different that I had done this year. So you know, when someone says, when you learn to do something and you change it, hoping to try to learn something new or try something new, you should always try to have a test and control. Well, so that's something I did different this year. As I put these bottom boards back in to my B-Smart boards, I figured the airflow to keep the temperature constant in my hives was something that was needed to be kept down on to keep the temperature constant. But airflow is what those bees needed. It's been a wet winter, and they needed to dry out that colony. If you notice the bottom of this board, mold all over the bottom of this board. And every single one of these boards under every single one of these hives were either wet or moldy or had some indication of moisture sitting on that board. Moisture killed my colonies. Nothing else. I did nothing wrong other than I left those bottom boards in underneath all of these colonies. So, there's a debate online about screen bottom boards versus solid bottom boards. Some swear by the solid bottom boards and tilting them forward, and I agree with that. But if you have a screen bottom board, I would say pull those things out, pull these things, and throw them away for the winter. If you've got beetle shims, these are great tools to help for the fall, to keep the beetles out. But for the winter, tuck them away, because you need to get that airflow in those hives. These bees can regulate the temperature in the cluster, but they need to have that airflow. They need to make sure that the heat is maintained in the brood box, but the airflow is good, and the condensation that could draw up underneath that is drawn up into the quilt box. So, and keep the story short here, it's been a rough last 24 hours, losing 3 good colonies. It will never be the same without Flopsy, Mopsy, and Lopsy. God rest their soul. That's all we got here from Bohemia Bees. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more in the adventures of beekeeping here in the eastern shore of Maryland, as we learn every single day on how to keep bees at the Bohemia Apiary. Thanks for watching.